All right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that are probably still tucked away in those cheap boxes, those dollar boxes, things that I think are interesting that I'll be looking for based off of some of the recent news, some of the rumors, announcements, things going on in the comics. Again, some news we got with some of these DC James Gunn plans for his first phase as head of DC. Some of those things tied in here as well. Some things you probably can still find in those cheap boxes, and just some things to go and hunt for fun, because comics should be fun. Should be a fun hobby for most of us. And I don't know. I just think this is a fun little scavenger hunt kind of list that I kind of put out there for you each week. And hopefully you're still enjoying that, as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Consider joining up with one of the memberships. We'll be doing an Ask Me Anything probably next week, as well as dropping some membership content very, very soon. And if you want to see what books I got for you this week, all you need to do is hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so as I mentioned, we got a lot of announcements out of James Gunn this week with his plans for his phase of DCU. And one of the things that jumped out to me that I thought was personally interesting, while it is a cartoon, an animated series, was Creature Commandos. I don't know. It just looks like this could be fun. Like, this looks, the speed, this is kind of what, I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of James Gunn being in charge of the entire DC universe, but certain properties, things like this, definitely, I can see this. This makes a lot of sense to me. In that Peacemaker, Suicide Squad kind of way, this oddball ragtag team, things we've seen him do before, makes total sense. Where I still need a show me first, I'll need to see what he does with the, I guess, the Trinity there. So the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, what he's going to do there with some of the bigger characters. Will they be made? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. That all said, we're not getting into all that. We're just going to look at Creature Commandos first. Now, just to point it out, so you know, so you're aware, I'm not saying you're going to find this in a dollar bin, but just so you know, their first appearance was in Weird War Tales number 93. I'm getting all tongue-tied for some reason, but you're probably not going to find that in a dollar bin. So what else can we look at for these characters? Why don't we look at some of the individual members that we see coming in this, this project that is apparently coming very, very soon. Like, they've already started in on this. So, this is something we should be getting, I think, this year, maybe even. So let's see there. Now, this next option is something that my buddy Van Denby put out there as that, hey, we're getting a bride, and she's going to be the head of the team, head of this squad, apparently, based off of what Gunn has been saying. So, Bride of Frankenstein, her first appearance is here in Frankenstein number 3, the Seven Soldiers Frankenstein number 3, and a lot of the things that James Gunn has picked out and talked about all been Grant Morrison stories, if you haven't noticed, from All-Star Superman to the Damian Wayne stuff to Seven. So look, some of this here, I don't know, I guess he's a big fan of Grant Morrison, and that's what it seems like we're going to be getting a lot of in this upcoming DCU slate. So, brace yourselves. But as I said, her first appearance here inside, and I didn't even notice at first that she's got that extra set of arms, but she does. And there you go. So we got extra set of arms, going to have guns blazing and all that fun stuff. This is still a very, very cheap book, so keep an eye out for it. Like these Frankenstein books, I know we talked about them before, I think around Halloween time. You still should be looking out for them, because this is a fun series and a fun read, regardless of you hunting for the first appearances and whatnot that are also there. You can see recent copies of these sold just yesterday and today for $3, $3.60. So again, even cheap online. Here's an example. I did find one available online right now. There weren't a lot, so and it was asking $7, and it's from Australia. So with that shipping, it's like $25. That's a bit much, but go check your shops. Go dig those dollar boxes. Maybe you go find these, because I know that Seven Soldier stuff has been in those dollar boxes for a while now. And I occasionally grab. You see the Zatanna every once in a while, just for the Ryan Sook covers. It's kind of cool to grab here and there. And I always stop on that Clarion for whatever reason, but go look for Frankenstein. Just go look for the Frankenstein ones. Now, in addition to that, we can also look at some of the other. What was the other character we had? It was like the fish lady, who I believe she showed up here in Frankenstein, Agent of Shade. Now, this is the new 52 start of this series. So this would be her first appearance in that universe. I know DC's kind of weird in that the universe with Rebirth and all that is the same. It doesn't matter. But here inside, we are getting some of those first appearances, including Dr. Nina Mazursky. Yeah, Mazursky. That's probably it. But yeah, like the fish lady. She's like the creature from the Black Lagoon. She's got a bubble, the bubble head and the water inside, almost like Abe Sapien in Hellboy, but female version. So we saw her in the lineup that we saw for Creature Commandos. So this is one of those characters that you might want to go look for. So this is another book that Van had mentioned that is pretty cheap. If it is a side chat, he threw these books out there, and I thought, these are good dollar bin digging options. So throw these in here. And you can see here, $1.85 and $6.50 are sales the last 2 days on this as examples. Asking prices also $2, $4, up to like $6. Still not super pricey. Not saying these are going to be super pricey. Not trying to inflate the values of these. I'm just saying this is a kind of cool book to go and find for cheap and go dig out of a dollar bin. Not telling you to go pay market prices, even though some of these market prices are still pretty cheap. I mean, $2 is $2. So keep that in mind. Granted, this was New 52, and I believe this came out in October-ish, maybe, of what was this, 2011? What's it say on there? I think it's October-ish. It's like later in the year that this series had started. But prior to that, and I believe it was like August, earlier in the year, we did get the Flashpoint minis, and there was a Frankenstein and the Creatures of the Unknown. It's like a, first issue, I think it was 3-issue series, one of these weird Flashpoint miniseries. Again, I understand it's alternate universe stuff, but this technically came first. This came out before the Agents of Shade, and this also had a version of Nina in here as well. So you might want to hedge your bets and also look for this book too, because she technically showed up here first, even though it's an alternate universe version. I mean, I don't know what the market's going to decide, or the market's really going to care. Like I said, these are just fun books for you to go and look for based off of some of these news items and whatnot. So for $1, go grab one. Frankenstein and the Creatures of the Unknown. Plus, it's kind of a fun little story there. You got, monsters fighting in a war. Well, how could you go wrong, right? That said, another book that is very cheap, even now. $1.50 it sold for. $2.50 with another issue. There was a lot of 2 books for $2.50. So these are like $1 book, even online. So not only look for the dollars in your store, it's $1 online. Copies available right now, $2.50. $5 up to $8. That's just a range. But again, it's not an expensive book. I'm not trying to say it should be. All I'm saying is this is the market. But I just think it's a fun book for you to go and dig because it is the first appearance of a character we're going to see a little bit more of. So it doesn't hurt, right? Doesn't hurt, especially for $1. I spent candy bars cost $1 now. Like you could do a lot worse with your buck than buying an oddball comic like this. All right, now we're going to go shift on over to Marvel. Real quick, and I'm going to look at the Lethal Avengers. This Lethal Avengers villain team is getting rebooted. It's the Lethal Legion, and they're being brought back into New Mutants, which is coming out soon. Like, this is a new 5-issue mini. I think it's starting maybe next month. And here's just one of those FOC preview type images. It's not coming. This is issue 2, I think. So it's not coming until down the line. But Lethal Legion, is a fun little team. So when did they first show up? Well, this is an old school Avengers team. So this is going all the way back to Avengers 78, which I know, old-timey. I know for most of you, this is like an old-timey book. You're not going to find that. Yeah, and chances are you're not going to find these old Avengers books in a dollar bin. You might. I have. You find them sometimes beat up and banged up all the hell, but they're sometimes in there. And it doesn't hurt to just know. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I just want to give you this information. Do what you want with it. We're not here to hem and haw and argue over whether this is going to be in a box or not, because most of the time, you're not going to find this stuff, which is why it's a treasure hunt. This is why it's a scavenger hunt. If it were easy, everybody would do it. That said, issue 78, this is the first time we see the Lethal Legion here, like a last page splash situation. This is one of those, last page things where there they are. Right in the end, that's really all you get. But it is the team, and it is them. I know a lot of people don't like team first appearances, but it is what it is. There they are. And I think below on the page, I kind of zoomed in on it, but below on the page is like, up next, the Lethal Legion, because this was issue 78, and they're going to show up in the next issue. This book, while you might say this is an old Avengers book, a classic Avengers book, it's still not that expensive. Yes, there are $30 and $40 copies, but there are also copies that sell for like $15 to $17 too, depending on grade and condition. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are going to be cheaper options out there. Even if you go shopping now, there are cheaper options. Look, buy it now for $13. I mean, it's not going to be a 9.8, so don't expect a 9.8 for $13, but it's still not that bad. There's an auction starting at $4.50. No bids yet, so maybe you will win something like that too. And $38. Now, so again, there are more expensive copies here and there, but there are cheaper options if you go looking. That's even online, but I'm not telling you online. I'm telling you go dig in a shop. Who knows what you might find in a cheap box somewhere. Somebody gets a collection in, they go, well, let me pull like the big keys that they know, and they just forget about Lethal Legion because it's not a big key. It's just an oddball Avengers villains team. That said, the next issue has them on the cover. Better cover, obviously, if you're collecting Lethal Legion. So just to keep this in mind, issue 79 has them there. Classic kind of, old-timey comic look there. It's only like $10 to $20. Also, not a super expensive book. Options online. Look, there's some at auction right now only at $275 and $450. Who knows where they're going to end? But the point being, there are auctions and cheap options out there. Even a buy it now for only $15 ain't too bad for something like this. Just saying. I'm not telling you to buy those. I'm not telling you to go buy these online. I'm telling you to pay the market. Once again, to be very, very clear, just go flipping through. When you're flipping through the box, looking, see what you find for cheap. That's what I'm talking about. Now, as you're probably going to have a hard time finding either of those, you might have a better shot finding this issue of the Avengers. And this is issue 164, which is going to bring back the Lethal Legion again, a new iteration of the team, this time headed up by Count Nefaria, who is actually going to be the villain in this New Mutants run. So it's going to be kind of based off of this team and Nefaria running the Lethal Legion. So this is an interesting option because this is the first time Count Nefaria brings the Lethal Legion together and is kind of like in charge of these guys. So just again, another fun little book you can keep an eye out for. And this is 164, Avengers 164, which, once again, you can see these prices. Best offer on $2.25. So they accepted less than $2.25. $4.95, $9.50. Not a pricey book. Options out there, $5 to $8. Again, it is just one of those things. But who knows? Go dig in a dollar box, see what you find. $1 box, $2 box, discount box, whatever kind of cheap shop hunting you can do at a half-price book, at a used bookstore, at a flea market, yard sales, wherever you go hunting for your cheap comics. Just look for some of this stuff. Who knows what you might find? I mean, you're obviously going to hunt, like, oh, I'm going to find my New Mutants 98 and my ASM 300s. Yes, you're obviously looking for that stuff. And if you find it for $1, you're going to buy it. This is that other stuff. This is to help you pass the time, give you something to do when you're like, what am I looking for? Avengers. Well, here's 78, 79. Maybe look for 164. Just saying. These are numbers and covers to put in your mental Rolodex for when you're flipping, Now, we're also going to be getting a new Guardians of the Galaxy title. Yes, another Guardians of the Galaxy reboot. I know. Getting kind of tired of them rebooting it over and over again, and I don't know how I feel about this yet. But here's the new series, and we're seeing the lineup of the team. Familiar faces on the team. But here we go. I don't know why we're going like Old West with this, but apparently it's going to be Firefly. I don't know. It looks like now they're doing Fireflies. Guardians of the Galaxy meets Firefly, which I'm not 100% opposed to it. I just don't know if that's really what I wanted. That's it. You guys know I've been waiting. I want more cosmic stuff. But for some reason or the other, Guardians in the comics just really hasn't been doing it for me. No. But this team, you got Star-Lord, you got Gamora. Obviously, those first appearances you're not going to find for $1. Drax, same deal. You're not going to find Draxes for $1. We got Mantis sitting down there in the sand. We talked about her on Forgotten First. Again, a book you're probably not finding for $1. And then we got Nebula, who is also a character that you're probably not going to find for $1. But I think it's a good time to remind you about that book. So that's why I'm going to drop it in here. Plus, we were talking Avengers. And like I said, it's been kind of ignored lately. So Avengers 257. Yes, book spiked many times over the years for one reason or another. This thing has gotten us, pretty high at times. But it seems to be down in a lull once again. So when books get down like that, they can still sometimes even find their way into those cheap boxes as people decide, you know what, it ain't worth pulling this for $10 to $15. I'm going to leave it in there. And they just leave them in there. And they're out there in those cheap bins. So maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. But 257, which is the first appearance of Nebula, as you know, $15. Even online, like I said, the prices are kind of soft right now. They're down. Options out there right now, anywhere from $10 to $15, $25. This used to be hitting $40, $50 plus, like easily for a good long time. People were sending these off to get graded. Now it's kind of ignored and forgotten about. But we're going to be getting more Nebula. She's going to be in the next movie. She's in this new series. So just don't forget about her. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Now, that's just a quick little one just to kind of mix in there. Because like I said, we're talking Avengers. I saw the Guardian story. All the other characters had no shot. But this is still a shot. Slim, but possible. Now, let's go back to DC for a second. And with DC, I know I've been talking a lot of DC the last couple of weeks, but that's where the news has been coming from. And it's actually been some of the better reads that, with us doing the reviews over on the TAC show, some of the better reads have been the DC books lately. So I'm going to take that for what it's worth and keep that in mind. But still, DC is bringing back Superman's black costume in a new Doomsday-related story. We already kind of saw it in the back of that Action Comics 1051, which is not one of the good reads that I have read lately. Just did not care for that Action 1051. Just too much going on. But at the same time, not much going on, which is a weird mix. I don't know. But in the backups, there was like extra backup tales. There was like a Power Girl story, and there was a John Kent and Lois and Clark kind of story, and Clark had the black suit on. I don't know if they're going to tie into that with this, but they're bringing the black suit back. So, hey, if John Kent having electrified powers is going to make people go out and start searching and hunting for electric blue Superman as a Superman outfit, why not look for the black suit too? Let's all look for Superman variant costumes. And the first black suit Superman that I know he came out and he was wearing like a Kryptonian thing, but before it actually got the S on it and it was like his official like uniform and garb, that one happened in Man of Steel number 25. Easy cover to remember. I mean, he's right there. His face is in your face. Easy one to remember. And these Reign of the Supermen books litter dollar boxes. There's tons of these out there. So you'll probably find it. And like I said, if you're just curious and you just want it for fun, this is where you're going to get it. Just first, with the silver S, the black suit, like official. Not the weird, like I said, Kryptonian where it had the shape, but there was no S. There was also like these tubes and stuff. I'd say this is the first official. And granted, it's the last page splash cameo, so keep that in mind as well, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it is a costume after all. It's not even a person. But Man of Steel, number 25. You can see here, I mentioned, prices cheap, $1.74, $5, $7. Not that expensive. Copies selling. Copies available. There's like $3, $3 or $5 really. It's not a pricey book, and I'm telling you, could find this in dollar bins. There are plenty of these Superman books, but that is that last page splash. Now, a lot of people like to sell this book as the first one because it's on the cover, it's in your face, and he's got it on through, I guess, the whole issue, which because it's the next issue in what Superman was doing. They were running across 4 titles, and like the story was being carried over across Superman, Avengers of Superman, Action, and Man of Steel. But here we go, Superman number 81. It is front and center. It's on the cover. It's a nice cover. Yeah, pretty cool. And then people are selling it that way as far as black suit. But as I showed you, it showed up before then. Granted, last page splash, but it was there, right? Not making it up. This thing is even cheap. So it's selling for like $2. It's like $2. So it's not, the difference is pretty much negligible. These are very, very cheap books, and you can dig them out of those dollar boxes. But there are some higher asking prices. Yeah, there's $2 copies, and then there's like $10 copies too. Some a little higher. Not many much lower than $2 though. But just keep it in mind, it's a kind of a fun thing. Like I said, this is just should be fun. Comics should be fun. Let's go dig and look for some of this stuff just for fun. It's only $1 or $2. That said, I got one more option for you. Based off another story we covered on TAC last night. Yeah, Marvel is once again asking for you, the fans, to vote for a new member of the X-Men team. I think last year they did a couple. I don't even know if we got to build out a whole team, but here they're asking for us to vote for one of these 6. And here I'll give you the whole poll so we can get a better look at it. It's Jubilee, Juggernaut, Prodigy, Dazzler, Cannonball, and Frenzy. Once again, a few of these, you're going to have pretty much 0 shot at finding firsts in the dollar bin. You're not going to find first Juggernaut in the dollar bin. It's just not going to happen. Jubilee, too expensive these days. Not going to happen. Dazzler, again, probably not going to. I'm just saying. Just be real here. Cannonball with that graphic novel, you're not going to find it for $1. If you do, God bless you. But it's just most likely not going to happen. But the other 2, you got a shot. So let's look at the other two, Prodigy and Frenzy. We'll start with Prodigy. This isn't a book I've also talked about here just because I dig this Middleton cover. Like this run of Middleton covers from 1 through 6 on this New Mutants run in I think it's 2003. It's awesome. 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. It's early 2000s. But this is an awesome cover. I dig it. And inside, throughout most of the story, you're getting David, you're getting Prodigy, the character, as he's coming to meet, check out the school and all that stuff. So there's no question over, is it, is it a cameo or whatever? This is him. This is him. He's throughout most of the book. This is him. That said, this book does okay for itself, but like I said, you can still find these. You can still find these for cheap. Yeah, $6. Look, one sold for $17.50. Another one sold in a lot with that issue 6, which is also a pretty cool cover. It's $31 for the two of them. So it can do all right if you find it. Asking prices tend to kind of $18, so 10 to 20. Yeah, it's not terrible, but at the same time, it's doable. This is something you can dig out. This is something that gets overlooked often. People don't care about these later runs of New Mutants most of the time, and they find their way into those boxes. They do. They're out there. It may not for everybody. May not be out there for everybody. I'm not saying that, but there are plenty of people out there. There's plenty of boxes, and maybe you can find it. That said, that's Prodigy. So we're going to go over to Frenzy, who was technically a villain to start. So I guess she's changed her ways and is coming to the side of the angels, I suppose. X Factor number 4. Right there on the cover, Power of Frenzy. Yeah, X Factor. You see X Factor books in there. And you hem and haw and decide, do I really need a first Richter? Where's the first Archangel? Let me see if I can find the first Archangel. Yeah. And we know Apocalypse. Apocalypse comes right after this. Apocalypse 5 and 6 coming right after this, which means this book has usually been ignored for decades because it's not Apocalypse. They don't care. They'll leave it behind, as evidenced by the prices, which $1.54 to $6. Even online, this doesn't sell for all that much. But it's first appearance. It's first appearance of a potentially new X-Men character. New on the team, I should say. Available copies, $6, $10. And look, there's an auction at $2. Starting at $2, no bids yet. Have a shot at it. It's going to end Sunday, but, $1.99. Who knows? It's cheap. But cheap firsts, oddball things for you to go dig out the box. That's kind of all I'm trying to throw at you. I mean, I'm doing this. This is episode or article 225. So I've been doing this a few years now. I've talked about many of these books already before, and I'll talk about them again. But this is the kind of stuff that I think is fun to kind of cover. And this is the kind of stuff that I am personally going to go look for when I go digging into the boxes, because when I see things in the news and I see things happening in the comics, it gets me excited. And I go, let me see if I can find more of that. Let me just go looking. It's almost like a challenge. So I challenge you to go find some of these things for $1. I'm not telling you to go pay a lot of money for these things. $1 or maybe $2. I'll give you $2 max. Okay. That all said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here in the channel. Got content dropping at least every day. I got shorts coming to you daily. We got other content coming to you daily. Make sure you come back tomorrow for Mail Call Madness, where Jedi and Dom got another new show for you. Definitely come back Saturday for the live show, as the boys got Tim Seeley as a special guest. So, definitely check that out, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then come back for Star Wars Live on Sunday. And then, my whole schedule will start over. I'll have Hidden Gems, Chasing Ghosts. Maybe I'll sneak another toy and video game extra in there. I like it. I like toys. I like video games. I'm going to keep doing them. Hopefully you guys like them. But please, go check them out. If you're not, I know it may not be your thing. You may only be here for comics. But just check it out, because it doesn't hurt to have some of this extra info. It doesn't hurt to know a little bit more about things that might not be in your wheelhouse, because you never know when you might find yourself in front of a stack of old games and you go, well, which of these are worth anything? I don't have the patience to go looking all of them up on my phone. So just get a few. Just get a few put aside in your head that hey, that's worth a few bucks, I think. Let me look. Let me make sure. And I don't know. Hopefully you guys find it cool, find it interesting, because I like doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And with that all said, thanks again. I got more content coming your way, and I'll see you guys all later. All right, bye.